Good evening. It started this morning with the Met Police banning protests outside Parliament. It ended in scuffles at Trafalgar Square, with officers making 3 arrests. The gathering was organised by supporters of Palestine Action, who made their feelings clear it should not be prescribed as a terrorist organisation. But that fell on deaf ears in the House of Commons as Home Secretary Yvette Cooper announced plans to do just that. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
This was the protest London's police chief said he was powerless to put a stop to. And it wasn't long before his officers and demonstrators were engaged in scuffles. The protest was in support of Palestine Action, a group which the government indicated at the weekend it was planning to ban. Demonstrators were forced to gather in Trafalgar Square after the Met put an exclusion zone around Parliament. Among them, Anne, a retired psychology professor from Greenwich.
We were supposed to be protesting at Parliament Square, which is the seat of, which is where we should be allowed to protest. Why should we not be allowed to go there?
As the crowd moved into the roads, surrounding streets came to a standstill.
I've been here half an hour now, right? They're fighting, the police haven't got any control whatsoever. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Everyone's entitled to protest, fair dues, but do it peacefully. Stay where you're supposed to stay, let everyone else get around.
I've been up in here for the last 20 minutes, just trying to move around, and it's becoming now pretty much every week. So you can't do the job, you know, it makes it really difficult.
The government's move against Palestine Action came after activists sprayed red paint on the engines of 2 mid-air refuelling aircraft at RAF Bryce Norton. Just over an hour into the protest, the Home Secretary announced she was making it illegal to be a member of or to support Palestine Action. Earlier, the Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, had described it as an organised extremist criminal group. In a statement, Yvette Cooper said the disgraceful attack on Bryce Norton in the early hours of the morning on Friday 20th of June is the latest in a long history of unacceptable criminal damage committed by Palestine Action.
To prescribe this organisation would mean that anybody in any way, shape or form involved with them is also deemed to be a risk. And I think that's deeply problematic, especially given what they were protesting about.
The protesters were told they could make their point for 3 hours. Some of those arrested were later released. This masked man wouldn't tell us his name.
They said they thought I had articles to commit criminal damage on me.
Did they search you?
Yeah, I've been searched, I had nothing. So they just had no reason to grab me and assault me and cause all this damage to my hands.
The government's decision to prescribe Palestine Action under the Terrorism Act will go before Parliament next week. Simon Harris, ITV News, Trafalgar Square.
Good evening. The family of a young chef stabbed to death on a West London street say he was a kind and gentle man simply trying to break up a fight. Police are investigating after 22-year-old Dara Omar died in Hounslow at the weekend after suffering multiple wounds. Today, 2 men were arrested on suspicion of his murder. Simon Harris has our top story.
Dara Omar's family say he was a peacemaker, a kind and gentle young man who died, they believe, trying to break up a fight. The 22-year-old helped run a Kurdish restaurant in Hounslow. He was an accomplished chef. On Sunday, he was at work when he was stabbed.
Dara, he was a peacemaker between 2 groups of young people. They were fighting on the street. He was inside the restaurant. He came out to separate them. Sometimes, if you want to be a hero or peacemaker, you can lose your life. That's what happened to Dara.
Paramedics tried to save him, but Dara was losing blood and was rushed by ambulance to St Mary's Paddington.
By the time we tried to get him to the hospital, his heart was stopped in the ambulance once for almost 13 minutes. But when they get him into the hospital, they tried to work out. A couple of hours later, unfortunately, we lost him.
Dara helped establish a new mosque in Hounslow, working to convert the building and cooking food for volunteers.
He was so young, so energetic, livelihood person. He was having a brighter future ahead of him. You could have always talked to him. He was thinking 10 years of now, not now. But that's a sad news we heard a couple of days ago what happened to him.
Today, members of the mosque remembered Dara as a well-known and popular member of West London's Kurdish community. Dara came to the UK as a teenager. As well as working at the restaurant, he was studying at a local college. His parents still live in Kurdistan, and the family say they're hoping that's where he'll be laid to rest.
I'm quite shocked at the moment because he was very, very close to me. I was his uncle, and during the time that we working together, and he was known as one of the kind person in the community.
Tonight, Scotland Yard said 2 men were in custody after being arrested on suspicion of murder. One is 27, the other 37. Simon Harris, ITV News, Hounslow.
But first, to the engineers working on a tunnel that won't be in use for at least a decade. The Northolt Tunnel is more than 8 miles long and will take HS2's new high-speed trains from West Ruislip to Old Oak Common. Today, there's a major milestone in the project as the final boring machine broke through under West London. With a look underground, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
20 metres below West London, Prachi is collecting vital statistics. She's an engineer helping to keep a giant tunnelling machine on track as it chews its way through the London clay.
I'm basically from India and I did my bachelor's in civil engineering, but I moved to the UK for my master's. It has been really incredible so far. This is my first tunnelling job and I just feel like I'm working under the ground, just heart of the underground, developing this infrastructure.
Today, the tunnelling team finished the final few feet of the HS2 tunnel from Old Oak Common to Ruislip. It's a significant milestone in the project to build the controversial high-speed railway from London to Birmingham.
What's really important today is we're finishing the last bit of mining for this section of tunnel. This is the eastern part of Northolt's tunnels, and that will complete the whole Northolt tunnel section, which is about 8.5 miles long.
The engineers have been working 10-hour shifts on the tunnel boring machine called Anne. As the cutting head of the tunnelling machine inches forward, concrete sections are levered into place behind it to form the lining of the tunnel. Katie joined the team 18 months ago as an apprentice.
It's something different. You walk on the underground and you don't think about the engineering that goes behind it, and then when you're actually working it, you realise how much goes into it, and I find it really interesting.
The tunnellers might be done for now, but ahead there's the installation of miles of cables and eventually the railway track to be laid. But that's probably some years away. The one question no one can answer is when will trains start running through the tunnels from Old Oak Common to Birmingham? Last week, the minister in charge of HS2 hinted it could be another decade before the line is open. It's now down to HS2's chief executive to present the government with a timetable and estimated cost.
We've hired Mark Wild. He's the guy who fixed the Elizabeth line, got it sorted out and opened it. He will produce a timescale and a cost for HS2.
Below ground, everyone has to carry a portable oxygen tank in case of emergency. It's a challenging environment.
Especially being a woman in this industry, dominated by men all around.
We're down here for majority of our shift, and we have our engineer's cabin and then the canteen for us, so we can always have our food.
And we also have got our separate toilets, which I'm really glad about.
This isn't the end of the tunnelling story. Work is due to begin next year on the tunnel from Old Oak Common to Euston. But the opening date for that part of HS2 is even more uncertain. Simon Harris, ITV News, Old Oak Common.